Hello, my name is Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
And I'm a fraud. That's right, I'm a fake. I'm a, what's the word that I'm looking for?
You're a phony!
A phony. A big, fat phony. And here's why. Over the last 6 months or so, I've been making these videos and I've been leading you to believe that I'm something that I am not. I've been leading you to believe that I'm some sort of keyboard player. Some sort of pseudo-proficient keyboard player, and at the end of the day, that is not who and what I am. At the end of the day, I am a guitarist. That's right, guitar has always been my first love. It has been my instrument at which I am most proficient. So, where does that leave us? Where does that leave our relationship? Well, I think the best thing that I can do to try to make amends, to try to make it up to you folks, is to do an episode that is based around guitar synthesizers. So, luckily, I have a few at the ready. So we will demonstrate in no particular order the Yamaha G10 guitar synthesizer. We will demonstrate a couple of options from Godin, the guitar maker, the wonderful Canadian guitar maker. One of them has a Fishman Triple play pickup built right into it, so we'll demonstrate that. I have another one that has a Roland style pickup built into it, so we'll use that to control a Roland GR-1 guitar synthesizer, and we'll see how that compares. And then at the end of the episode, maybe we'll whip out a little bit of a surprise, but we'll save that for the end. But for now, why don't we move on to the Yamaha G10? Actually, first, I think what we'll do is let's establish a baseline. So let me get a guitar, let me set down a groove on the Yamaha AN200, and I'll play along with that groove for a minute or two, just so you guys can get an idea of my level of proficiency on the guitar. And then, as you're hearing me demonstrate the guitar synthesizers, you can sort of compare and contrast and say, okay, well, this guy can play this well on a plain old guitar, and the same style of playing sounds this good on this guitar synthesizer, and this good on this guitar synthesizer, and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, it won't be the most scientific thing in the world, but you'll get an idea as to you know, how accurate the tracking is on these guitar synthesizers. So without any further ado, here we go, let's get started. Okay guys, this is most certainly not take 50 of this. No, definitely not. This is certainly the first take. Anyway, yes, guitar playing. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys what my guitar playing sounds like. There's no guitar synthesizer in the loop right now. And again, this will just give you an idea of what it sounds like when I'm just playing naturally, and then later on we can sort of compare and contrast well, a couple things. So it's, you know, A, how the guitar synthesizers track compared to my normal playing, and B, how I have to adjust my playing in order to get the guitar synth to sound decent. And with each one, there's, you know, a little bit of a different adjustment. So you guys will see that later, and again, I think it'll make sense for you to go back and compare to what I'm about to do, which is just play regular old guitar with a little bit of a groove. Here's a little bit of a groove. Let's see, so let's play some fast notes, shall we? Let's do... good enough for you guys to get the idea of my level of proficiency or lack thereof. And also, you know, kind of my level of sloppiness, because there's definitely a lot of slop in there. And you guys will hear how each of these guitar synthesizers interpret that slop very differently. So let's start off with the Yamaha G10 guitar synth. This is a guitar synth that was made, I think it came out in 1989. A lot of stuff came out in 1989, actually. This is a standalone guitar synth, and well, you guys will see. So first up is here's the Yamaha G10. So you'll notice a few interesting things. It is, you know, plastic and not the most durable of things. If you look closely, you'll see that each one of these strings is the same gauge. These are all 016, essentially they're G strings. No comments from the peanut gallery. And in theory, they should all be tuned the same, although right now they're all over the place on this guitar. Oh, actually, let me see. Let me see if you can hear this. Yeah, it's awful. If you can, if you just noodle with this thing in the room acoustically. Hold on, let me get my mic back on. Yeah, if you just noodle in the room acoustically with this thing, it is just an awful, awful sound, cacophonous sound. Kind of great, actually. So yeah, each string gets wound through here and is applied tension with these tuning rods down here. It's not the greatest mechanism in the world, but it is what it is. We have a mod wheel here, we have a volume wheel here, we have patch up, patch down, and we have a tremolo bar which works very similarly to a you know, pitch bend knob on a regular synthesizer. There is also an input, let me see, I believe it's down here, for a, no, actually it's right here, for a Yamaha breath controller. And although I have one, I lost the mouthpiece to it. I don't know where the mouthpiece actually went, so it's kind of useless without that. But that's useful for Yamaha synths that support breath control. And you can also tell the head unit, which we'll look at in a minute, to convert the breath control signal into aftertouch, so you can use it as an aftertouch controller as well. So speaking of the head unit, let's go up here with our little mini cam here, and we can see here. So we can adjust the tuning of all the strings, and so you can adjust them all in common. So let's say right now this is tuned just like a regular guitar. So we can tune down by a half step, or however many steps we so desire. Just kind of neat that we can just do an instant change in tuning. But also, if you want to, you know, let's say you want to do a drop D tuning, we can move the cursor to just our lowest string, our 6th string, and just drop that down to a D. Or let's say we want to make a dadgad tuning. We can change our 1st string to a D as well. So, very cool that this can be changed immediately, instantaneously. So we'll go back to our regular guitar tuning. There, you can also, what's neat is that you can set it to a left-hand trigger mode. So, you know, as you can probably guess, I'm holding the video camera with one hand, and I'm fretting with my other hand. So in this case, I'm actually fretting with my right hand. But you can set it so that you don't even have to pick a note. It will just trigger as soon as you play with your left hand. Actually, let me turn to the main camera and show you guys. So, yeah. So it doesn't necessarily trigger accurately, but it does trigger without having to pick. Let's set this back to normal mode for now, normal triggering. You can set a virtual capo. So, you know, if you want to, you know, lop this off at the 2nd fret, you can do that. Very cool. All sorts of neat things that you can do, you know, very quickly and easily using this head unit. Let's see what else. You can adjust your velocity curves and your sensitivity of the strings. You can also select your pitch bend range. I have it set to 0. It's a shame that I have to do that. Reason being is that, you know, I want to be able to use the tremolo arm here to do pitch bends, which is, you know, so let's set it to 2, for example, and so you're probably saying, okay, well, why not leave it at that? And the problem is when you go to play, the mechanism here that's used, that's detecting the bends in the string, hopefully you guys will be able to see this here. See how whenever you bend the string, it bends this, it sort of moves this little thing? This is how it detects the string bending. That's all well and good, but also when you pick, it moves that thing a little bit. So every time you pick, it sends a string bend MIDI notification to your MIDI software, or you know whatever you happen to be using, or your instrument. And that sounds incredibly unnatural, especially on something like, say, a you know, an electric piano sound, which shouldn't have pitch bend to begin with. You know. You can hear at the beginning of some of those notes just a little bit of a rise at the top of the note. It's not always. So it's just not natural sounding, and you know, so I choose to go without it, which is kind of a bummer. But so we turn that off, and well, why don't I just play? Let's get the groove going. Turn this off, and yeah, there we go. There's our groove. Up next, we have our Godin in hand once again, but this time, look, Ma, no wires. We are wireless, and that's right. So this guitar is outfitted with the Fishman Triple Play guitar to MIDI converter. This communicates with a little dongle that's connected to my USB hub. It's about the size of a typical USB flash drive, or you know, if you happen to use an iLock for any of your you know, DAW stuff. It's a little bit smaller than the iLock is. Actually, I take it back. I was looking at the wrong thing. It's about maybe a tiny bit bigger than the iLock. I was looking at my little USB wireless adapter. It's a little bit smaller than my wireless adapter. So, well, the critical thing here is how does it track and how does it play? Let's find out, shall we? Let's start up our groove. You guys are going to be sick of this groove by the time this video is over with. right. So yeah, it's funny. I haven't played with this for a little while, and I've forgotten how well it tracks. I just don't remember it tracking that well. Maybe it's just a combination of this and the particular sound that I'm using, or I've got a relatively new computer here. Maybe maybe before things were getting fouled up a little bit by the old computer. But I'm actually pretty stoked with how well this is tracking and how good this feels. But I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments what you think of it. For now, why don't we move on to another Godin. Up next is the Roland GR-1 guitar synthesizer, which I will be controlling with a Godin LGXT guitar that has the Roland electronics, or the Roland compatible electronics built right into it, as you can see here. So let's take a close look at the GR-1. Very exciting, very late 80s, early 90s looking. This is the first synth that we'll be playing today, first guitar synth that we'll be playing today that has sounds built into it. And as you'll see, the tracking is very different depending on whether you're using the internal sounds or whether you're using it as a MIDI controller. So let's start up our groove again. Now let's play. There's a little more latency than there's been with the previous couple controllers, and the tracking is actually not that bad, surprisingly, for something that's I don't know, 25 years old. But yeah, it's a little bit wonky, but it's still pretty usable, right? There's the matter of the sounds, which are, pleasantly dated, I guess is a nice way to put it. So we can also use this as a MIDI controller. It has some issues. It has a few issues. Let me see. Maybe there's some parameters that I can tweak here to, maybe I'll send the pitch bend down to 0, and let's see if that makes things any better. That got rid of a lot of the wonkiness, which is good. Definitely doesn't track as well in the lower notes as the Fishman does, which is to be expected. So, given that it's 25 years old, that's really not bad at all. Yeah, bends are weird now because it's not actually sending pitch bends, so it's just, as soon as I bend a little bit, it goes directly to the next note. So you just have to adjust your playing accordingly. But really, this is actually an even bigger surprise than how well the Fishman did. This is quite usable. I'm very pleasantly surprised. Again, it's obviously been a long time since I've used this. This is not bad. I'm kind of enjoying this. Just indulge me for a minute, will you? I could do this all night. So let's move on to the last one that I have for you guys. This one's a little bit of a surprise. This is going to take me a while to set up, so let's cut away and we'll be right back. I've saved the very best for last. I'm not going to tell you what it is quite yet. I know. I keep teasing you, but what I'd like you to do is watch the next few seconds, pause the video, then comment down below and let me know what you think is causing this wonderful, glorious sound that I'm about to make. And then unpause the video and see if you're right or not. So without any further ado, here we go. Yeah. All right, have you guys figured it out yet? All right, let's move over to the little camera here and I'll show you. This is a Korg MS20 Mini. So I have, let's take a look at this patch routing here. So we've got the guitar going into the signal in, of course. Then we have the, so this does an actual signal to a voltage converter, which is pretty darn cool if you ask me. So this is the CV out is actually going into the sample and hold in, and then the sample and hold out is going to our control voltage in here. Let me see, this is the envelope generator 1 out is the clock source for the sample and hold, and then the trigger out is just going directly to the trigger in. So I play a few notes. And you know, I can tweak that wonderful MS20 filter to my heart's content. Oh yeah, I mean, Horrible, horrible sound, but wonderful, wonderful at the same time. Just glorious, glorious stuff. So guys, I think that's it. I think that's all we're going to do for this episode. I hope that you enjoyed this little trip down guitar synthesizer lane. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, critiques, these are words with a C this time, please comment down below. Talk to me on Twitter. I am at synth_addict. Or you can find me on Facebook, and I am facebook.com/thesynthesizeraddict. Or you can always reach me at thesynthesizeraddict@gmail.com. Send me a question, and there's a good chance that I will make a video out of that question. So, I think other than that, I think that's it for this episode. You guys take care, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, you're a great big phony, you know that? That's right. You're a big fat phony. You're a phony. Hey, everybody, this guy's a great big phony.